Good Monday morning and welcome to the Man Cave. Well, this week we're going to take a look at the second of three key characteristics I think you need in order to be successful. Now, last week I showed you just how important and necessary perseverance is if you intend to be successful. Well, this week's key characteristic is not one that may come to mind necessarily, but I can tell you on the road to success, you're going to be using it every single day of your life. And it is simply this. You need to be a critical thinker. Okay, what the heck am I talking about? What's a critical thinker? Well, another way to look at it is someone who can solve problems, but usually at a much deeper level. And I can tell you, without this key characteristic, your chances for success are pretty much slim to none. So I want to give you an idea of what this looks like. And what I'm going to do is go to the Bible yet again, and perhaps the greatest example of critical thinking and problem-solving skills can be found in the Old Testament book of Nehemiah. Now, some of you are going, oh no, Old Testament. This is pretty cool though. So Nehemiah was a Jew living in Persia 450 years before the birth of Christ. That's a long time ago. And at that time, Jerusalem was in a shambles thanks to the Babylonians. And God put on Nehemiah's heart to go back to Jerusalem and build things back up. And so Nehemiah went. Once he was on site in Jerusalem, Nehemiah used the critical thinking skills that many of us are familiar with. He identified the problem. He identified the causes of the problem. He identified possible solutions to the problem. He picked what he thought was the best solution, and then he devised a plan to fix the problem. Pretty standard, right? But Nehemiah added one more step to the critical thinking process. He prayed about it. Yeah, he prayed about it. When he considered the enormity of the task in front of him, Nehemiah wrote, I sat down and wept and mourned for days, and I was fasting and praying before the God of heaven. I can certainly relate to those emotions. I bet there's some of you out there that can also relate to that. So what's the takeaway from all of this? Well, I'm going to give you two quick gold nuggets that I hope will inspire you when you're facing tasks like Nehemiah did. First one is Proverbs chapter 2, verse 6. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Then James chapter 1, verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, well, that would be all of us, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given you. Yeah. All right. Last week, we talked about several biblical figures who had been very successful through their perseverance, and yet their success was only made possible through their faith and dependence on God. This week, we've talked about Nehemiah, who was an incredibly successful critical thinker and problem solver, but his success was made possible only through his faith and dependence on God. I hope you're starting to see the common thread here. Okay. Next week, we're going to wrap all of this up with the third and final key characteristic, which in my mind is the most important one of all. You're not going to want to miss it. So come back and see us. And until then, may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times and in every way. The Lord be with all of you. Until next week, stay strong, keep the faith. We'll see you then.